Hey, this is David Wynn with the Mortgage Edge podcast brought to you by Click and Close Mortgage. Today, I have a very special guest coming from you from Las Vegas, Nevada, but she's actually from Florida, Tammy Philpot. Beautiful
Hey,
Tammy Philpot. How are you?
thank you. I am wonderful. How are you today?
I'm good. Well, I caught you on vacation. How long
I
are you
know.
in Vegas
I'm
for? How long have
loving.
you been in
I'm loving
Vegas?
the West Coast area. It's nice. Nice.
Yeah, how long have you been in Vegas?
This is day 3.
And how long are you going to be there?
Until Tuesday.
Crazy, crazy. That's
I know, but
awesome.
it's been
Well,
amazing. Great way to
enjoy.
start off 2025.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Vegas is a place to be. It's Vegas or New York, right? To bring in the new
Right.
year. How was the
Absolutely.
party? What nightclubs you go to? What parties you go to bring in the new
Okay,
year? What was
so
it?
I'm not a nightclub person. I'm not a nightclub person, just to be quite honest. But I do love all the lights, and the food here is freaking amazing. So yeah, I just didn't do anything special for that. But I'm here.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about you and the real estate business. So you own your own brokerage out of Florida. How long have you been a realtor?
So I don't own my own brokerage. I represent my own team within Coldwell
Okay.
Banker.
Okay.
So I could do my own brokerage, but Coldwell Banker is amazing to me and my
Yep.
team. So I haven't really decided if I'm going to jump to that yet or not. Maybe later on in my years, but I still feel like I'm a little young to do my brokerage. So I'm only in my 50s, David.
Yeah, you got a whole lifetime ahead, woman.
I know, right? I know. Yeah. So right now, I'm just kind of sticking with Coldwell Banker and what they provide. They are a fantastic brokerage for my team to be, connected with. And then,
Yep.
Blue Wave Group, Coldwell Banker's colors are blue.
Yep.
So it just kind of all fit. And then my brokerage takes care of everything. So I just get to have fun and make friends and make money and see a lot of real estate. I mean, it's
That's
perfect.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So how long have you been a realtor?
Since 2016.
Oh, not that long, but not that soon either. But what would you do
Yeah.
before you became a realtor? What
I
was your
was a
profession?
junior high school librarian.
Tammy, can I tell you? I'm not kidding. The top realtors across the United States that I talk to have a teaching background. Why? I
Because
think
we
because
because we get to educate.
yeah,
So think about how many first time home buyers we have and how, I mean, you've bought homes before, right? And you never forget that first purchase and how overwhelming and scary, and you don't know what you don't know. So as a realtor, it's been really great to be able to take that education, that love for education that I have. And now I'm educating people not only on buying houses, but there's so many other things we get to educate them on. You know, how to take care of taxes, how to decorate, how to, prepare when it gets time for you to sell.
yeah,
I deal a lot with military. And so probably 75% of my business is VA for VA loans and, active duty and veterans and all that. So that all that has a very special place in my heart. Well, it's crazy, but there's not a lot of education done for our military and their families on how to use their benefits to buy homes and set themselves up. So I think that if you're a former educator, if you have that passion for teaching and training and educating, that's why that comes together so well with real estate.
yeah.
I mean, it's
But
the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life, unless you buy a
it, it,
business.
it's funny you say that because the last lady that I talked to from Arkansas, top realtor out of Bentonville, Arkansas, she's only been fully licensed for or fully practicing real estate for 3 years, and she's one of the top in the country in a period of 3 years. And
Wow, that's awesome.
this lady here is going through a divorce, which we'll talk about that in a second. Had to raise 3 kids on her own. During that process, she adopted a kid during her divorce when she lost her job, and transition. And she was talking about how she was on food stamps, all this stuff, and then to go from that to all of a sudden now being from a place of plentiful and real estate and stuff like that. It's just, and you know what? School teacher for 25 years. a librarian, because when you said librarian, I'm like, oh my God, what is this today? Um,
Yeah.
but my next topic is I want to talk about what you just said about the VA loan. So my other guest is her Shamel. She's an ex veteran. The reason why she got into real estate is because her first house she bought was a VA loan. She put down 20%, and the loan officer allowed her to do that without education, without doing anything. No one
Oh my
told her
God.
she didn't have to do that. She goes, you know what? I was so disgusted about how I did what I didn't know. So now she comes from a place of education. So a
Yeah.
lot of people, the you and I are in the business. We know the VA loan is the best loan out there. It's better than
Yes.
FHA,
Yep.
conventional,
Yep.
even USDA. You know what?
Yep.
There's no zero down, no PMI, and it also comes with the lowest rate in the industry. So
Yep.
if you can qualify, why qualify? But what's weird is so many of our veterans have no idea. There's so many
Zero.
of our veterans, they're doing a VA loan for the first time. I go, is this your first house? No. I go, what'd you do for your first house? FHA. I'm like, why? Because no one educated them. No one talked to
Right.
them. You know, I mean,
Yep.
it's funny that you talk about that because it's just the reason why they have this is because they served our country. It was
Yeah.
as a part of their package. And so if you can give them the ability to have home ownership, that's huge. I'm glad you hit on that because I think it's very important to hit on that.
Absolutely. So, you know, so one of the reasons it's such a big passion for me, VA, is of course, well, I'm currently married, but in the process of divorce, and he's a veteran. And that was a big thing, for us going through, and all these kids that, that he was in command with and that he would talk to, you know, most of these kids didn't even know that they could buy a home.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, yes, you know? So we've got kids that are, 21, 22, buying their first homes, and they never thought in their wildest dreams that they could ever buy a home. Like,
Yeah.
you have an amazing benefit as an active duty military, person, to be able to do that. Not have to stay on base housing if you can even get in on base housing. Not to have to, to deal with all the different things that go along with that. And then starting your financial journey at that age, my God, you
Well,
know,
let's talk
I
about a little
mean,
bit about that. So I'm a little more seasoned. Well, we won't talk about my age because I'm a little bit older also. I think me and you are around
we
the
the
same.
same, David. We the
We
same.
are
We the same.
same. I know it.
Yeah, we
We
same
are
thing.
so we are around the same age. But
Yes.
I have some officers that leverage their military background. They have 7 or 8 properties. What they did was they started off, buy their first property, and then when they get transferred, guess what? They get to use their VA benefits again. And
Yeah.
then now this one they have renters in there, or they'll
Yeah.
flip it and they'll change it to a conventional or an FHA, so they can keep using their
Right.
benefits. So they keep, and
They
then
have no idea they can
during their
have more
20,
than one
25 year
loan.
term,
Yeah.
they bought millions of dollars worth of real estate, and now they're about to
Sitting
retire,
pretty.
and they're sitting pretty. And so
Yeah.
they look forward to their transfer because every 3 or 4 years you get transferred in the military.
Yeah.
There is no
Yep.
staying in one place.
Nope.
So they're like when they were young, at a very young age, they loved it, and that's the educational piece that you can provide for them. They don't know.
Yes.
Because a lot of people think, hey, I'm using my VA benefit. That's all. No, you can actually use it because it's entitlement.
Yeah.
You can have 2 VA loans at the same time if you want.
Exactly. But I love what you just touched on, though, as well, about the fact that, they're going from place to place to place, and they're building their wealth and all that based on this. Because let's face it, they're not making a whole lot of money in the military. That's
No.
not why they're there. So these benefits are used to, provide a better place and a better way for them. Well, when you buy and you have that BAH and you're able to buy around the bases, guess what happens? Like, not only have you started building your wealth with your home investment, but also, just like you were saying about renters and stuff like that, if you're leaving Eglin Air Force Base and, you're going to Canton, New Mexico, you can have a second VA loan. But guess what? If you have a house that's in good shape and it's around any of the bases, BH is never going anywhere. Like, those are the best areas to take and buy properties instead of renting, because you're going to have renters that are going to come in and out of there that aren't going to look and seek and find, or, get to learn about what VA benefits are available, or even people that are working, but they aren't within the VA and can't get a VA loan, but they're still going to need rental properties.
Absolutely.
So being a 22-year-old kid and having a rental property making money for you right out the gate, like, it's a
Well, let's
no-brainer.
let's talk about that because I agree with you. So I have a lot. We do a lot of VA loans. We probably do 100 VA loans a year minimum, all over the country because my team's licensed in all 50 states.
Oh, wow.
But it's kind of like we if there's a major base, everything around within a 5 or 10 mile radius of that base, you have ongoing forever. The second part of
Yes.
that is the second big craze that we're seeing right now is buying your college age student a house as their primary house as opposed to just renting it. So
Renting.
the last several years, and I think it's just because as a parent, my friends' kids are becoming of that age, going to college for the first time, and I've put more people into houses. So instead of them, living on campus, they're buying a 3-4 bedroom house and having roommates pay for the house. And then once they move out, they can just put it on the dorm and it's forever. It's forever rental.
Yes.
And the great part
They
about
have wait
it,
lists for those. They have
and,
wait lists for 'em.
yeah,
That's so smart. Yeah.
and then the great part about that is people don't realize this is the law says that it can be a primary house. You can buy your college age kid a house, or you can buy your elderly parent a house as a primary house, not as a second home or an investment. So you get the benefit of the lower rates. So
Wow.
yeah, there's two things.
Education. I
Yeah,
love
it's two
it.
things that we've been really hit on that people don't think about. Because
Yeah.
again, you know how expensive college is? A couple of
Yeah.
$100,000 a year, and if you get a rental house, you've paid for your college.
Yep. Absolutely.
By those kids renting it out. So let's talk about your team. How many people's on your team, Tammy?
Oh my God. I have a whole bunch. No, I'm just kidding. I really have. So I am the number one largest team in all of Northwest Florida and have been for the past 4 years for Coldwell Banker Realty.
Oh wow.
And so I started off, first of all, I never really wanted a big team. It was going to be me and my son, um, before I met my husband, and we were going to have maybe 3 or 4. So it was going to be 5 of us total. That's when I started everything out. That's what it was going to be. And that's how but anyhow, things changed. And so now I have 12 people 12 agents, and I have a full-time marketing person and a full-time transaction coordinator. So it's considered a large team now. So, but I am so incredibly blessed with the people on my team. Most of them are affiliated with the military, or, somebody like me, like I married somebody in the military. So we have that aspect going. We also have Spanish speaking agents on the team. So they're all amazing. They're like family. They really are. Once a year we take off and I bring them on a trip. Last year it was to Utah. We went and did Zion National Park and all that. Well, I didn't get to do that because I sprained my ankle before I even got out the parking lot. But yeah, it was crazy. But everybody else got to go and enjoy it. The year before that, we went to Manzanillo, Mexico. Oh, no. The year before that, we went on a cruise, on a celebrity cruise. We just were constantly bonding and working together. And so anytime somebody comes on to do business with us, they don't just get me, or they don't just get Carla, or they don't just get Jordan. They get the whole team. And we're spread out from Alabama, all across the Gulf Coast of Florida. So I'm
you're
very
looking to grow
lucky.
that team? Is this it, or what's the future?
So I get asked all the time about expanding. One thing you'll never see from me is reaching out and asking, hey, I have a team. You want to come join? I don't do that ever. Everybody that's on the team has come to me and asked, hey, I need mentorship. I need guidance. I need somebody to help me. Show me what you've done. And so that teaching element, right, that we were talking about before, well, for me, that's what it's been for my team, just mentorship. And so I don't just let anybody come on. I don't care if you're a top producer. I don't care if you've never sold one piece of property. It doesn't matter to me. They have to have the same kind of business ethics and morals, and work ethic that I have. And that's what I go based on. So since 2016, we've had 2 people that have been on the team that I've had to let off the team. Well, 3 now, if I include Steve. But yeah, that's it. Everybody else has been with us since the beginning because they're amazing and they're family.
Well,
And they
let's
work
talk.
hard.
Let's talk about you, Tammy, because you make up about 85% of the production for the team.
Correct.
How Superwoman with a cape? You got a red cape behind there in the blue or whatever.
Yes,
Uh,
red, white, and blue.
but with that being said, how are you doing this much production? Where are you getting your leads? Where are you getting? Are you buying Zillow leads? Are you buying leads? I mean, give us how you're so productive.
Okay, so to start off with, I did real estate part-time. When I first came down here, I sold advertising and did real estate part-time. And I have, there's a lot of people that come from Louisiana, which is where I'm originally from. I'm one of those Cajun ladies that doesn't drink alcohol. Imagine that. I'm
What?
the only
Hang on,
one.
whoa.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one. I'm a unicorn, David. I'm a unicorn.
You're
I'm the
a
only.
Cajun lady. Well, I can tell. That's why you're so friendly, because Louisiana women are the nicest women in the world and the friendliest. Now I know why you're. I knew
You
you
and
were.
I are best friends. We
I
are
know.
best friends.
I already.
Yeah.
Well, I already know. No, you know what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
Texas, so
Yeah.
there's so many. I know immediately. Whenever you have a Louisiana girl, because they are so friendly. They're so outgoing. It's just I don't know if it's the water or whatever, and then foodie.
It's the swamp water. It's the
Yeah.
swamp water.
So that makes sense. So I used to work at a place called Pablo's that had swamp water that had a drink called swamp water that was you can always drink 2 because it got you really drunk. But that's how. All right. But a Cajun girl that doesn't
Yes.
drink in Florida. Ooh, you are
Trifecta. And I can cook.
you Cajun food?
Yes. For
right.
Thanksgiving,
John, let's we need to come off the air. I need to call Tammy offline.
Right. Look, anytime you come to this side, let me know. I'll make you gumbo. Yeah, chicken and sausage gumbo is my best dish I make. So
nice. Yeah. So now we know you're a unicorn. You landed. So what made you go to Florida? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so we as a family always traveled to Florida. And I would always say, okay, that's when we, retire. That's where I want to retire too. And then, in my late 30s, I started getting ill and I found out that I had cancer. Okay. And then it came back again. So I decided there comes a point in time when you realize, oh my God, like tomorrow really is not guaranteed. It is not. So I didn't want to wait when I may not have had the time. You know what I mean? That I could have died at any point. So why wait? Huh?
What year was this?
This was in, let's see, Jordan, 2012.
Type.
So I just decided I didn't want to wait because maybe I wouldn't be here anymore. But I always knew I wanted to be in Florida. I loved Florida. It felt like home every time we got there for vacation. And when we were going back to Louisiana, I always felt a little dread, So I always knew that's where I wanted to end up. And, Florida and, the Emerald Coast where I live, it's almost like a hodgepodge of all kinds of different people from different areas. You don't have a whole lot of people that have said, oh yeah, I was born here and I grew up here. It's crazy. And I remember when I told my mom that that's what I was going to do. It's like, I'm gonna, get my real estate license and I'm going to move to Florida. She's like, oh my God, you're having a midlife crisis. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've had cancer. I'm ready to go live life. So that's what I did. And I've never looked back. I loved it. Huh?
Was it just you and your kids? Were you married at the time?
So it was just me. So I got a divorce. Okay. And all the kids stayed back in Louisiana except for one, Jordan, the youngest, and he wanted to sell real estate. And so that's what we did. So that's what we've been doing ever since.
So you moved in 2012 to Florida?
No, I moved in 2014 to Florida.
So basically, you sold everything and said, "I'm getting on it. I'm driving to
Oh my
Florida."
gosh. I literally brought a U-Haul truck, David. That's all I did. Brought a
Didn't
U-Haul
know,
truck. That
didn't
was
know
it.
where didn't know where you were gonna live. Didn't know. Well,
No,
did you even have,
I had a roommate, so I knew where I was going to live for the first year. And then I decided after the first 6 months I wanted my own place, and it's been
did
like,
you have a job?
yeah, yeah, I sold media actually for Cox. So,
Okay.
and real estate.
And you did real estate on the side?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you
And then
become?
during COVID, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'll tell you this. During COVID, I was one of their top producers at Cox. And during COVID, I guess they were sending everybody home. And so they let anybody that had a second job at Cox, they let us all go and said that they didn't have to do anything because we all had second jobs and basically, you know.
So you were working at Cox and real estate all the way to 2020, and that's whenever you stopped.
Yes. And then Cox is like, so I
So
had no health insurance, no nothing. I was freaking out. And my husband said, well, just don't go and get another job. Let's just do real estate full time. And then I started buying Zillow leads. That month, that March, I started buying Zillow leads, and we went from selling 2 to 3 houses a month to the 60 days after that, we were selling 10 plus houses a month, and it's never stopped.
so you're a big believer in Zillow leads.
I do. Yeah. I
Is it
laugh when
is
I
it
see
still the
all this
same?
stuff.
Because all the stuff that you see now, that how Zillow is trying to take over the industry, and you
They've
shouldn't
been
pay
saying
it.
that for years.
Yeah, yeah, but your ad spend and stuff like that, has it gone up? It's still the same, or is it?
So, until rates changed, and you felt it too, like we all did, I was spending about $43,000 a month on
Oh
Zillow,
wow,
but I was making
about 100 or
triple
something.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
triple that.
yeah,
Yeah, when you're selling over 20 houses a month, I
yeah.
mean, it
You
was
can't do it organically. You have to have some kind of lead for
correct, correct. I have a lot of organic stuff now,
it.
but it still doesn't, if I were to quit, all of that right now, it wouldn't, it would not be good. I do get a lot of referrals, from other, Cole Banker agents, Keller Williams agents, so on and so forth, just because I'm the top producer in the area. So, I mean, I just got 2 new listings today from, referrals outside of
Right.
here. And then, every time I travel, I sell a house. So I love that. And so, I mean, I have, a lot of that. I do have a lender that I deal with that sends me probably 2 to 3 leads a month. So I have that as well.
That's
So
awesome.
I get my fair share.
So what do you tell? So I'm a new agent out there. You're coaching me. How do you not tell them not to buy Zillow? Because the problem is a lot of agents don't have money, right? New agents.
Correct.
So how do
Well,
you
so
leverage that?
I told you at the beginning, I'm very different.
Yeah.
So I actually pay for leads and I assign them out to all my agents. So the
Oh
phone
wow.
rings to them, not to me.
So all your leads from Zillow goes to your agents, not to you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love my family. Yeah.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
That's wow. You are a unicorn,
Yeah.
because most brokerages don't do that. They
I'm
keep.
aware.
So
Yeah. My
yeah,
team's not normal.
yeah. Well, realtors out there, if you're listening in, it's Tammy Philpot from the Emerald Coast. We'll
Right?
get her
Here we
phone
go.
number here in just a few
Yeah,
minutes.
no.
But that's awesome, Tammy.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
giver. You know
It's
what? What's
so
amazing is
hard. It's so hard for new realtors that are coming in. And the reason I like working with new realtors, is because honestly, they don't have the bad habits that we have, you
yeah,
know? Sometimes, some of them come, they sell a lot of properties, but they have really cynical kind of behaviors and thoughts and all that. So I enjoy just teaching them like the positive and right way to do things. And I enjoy teaching them where you start from the very beginning, like all real estate. Real estate, although we have changes all the time, your sphere of influence and your different people that you talk to on a regular basis, none of that has changed. You still need to talk to people. You
Yeah.
can't just text everybody. There are some people that only want text messages. I've sold houses that way, never speaking to somebody, just doing through text message. That's great. But for those, it's a relationship business.
I
So I build relationships and I teach and I mentor on how to build those relationships and to be positive and to help problem solve and all those different things that are required in our business that most people don't focus on. That's the only thing that makes us different. My
well,
team is different because of how we approach, building those relationships with people. That's where you got
well,
to start.
so I'm in a coaching program. I'm coached by a company called the Market Animals to the Freedom Club. And they coach the top 1% of loan origination in the United States. And one of the things
Wow.
we must remember is they always say, your most powerful tool is this. I want to introduce you something. This is a phone. Pick it up and make a phone call.
Yes.
That is the most powerful tool in our business that we can use. It's a lost
Yeah.
art. People want to text. People want to email. People want to go. There is nothing more powerful than picking up that phone. I call you every
Yes.
week because because I question it, but whether you pick up or not, I'm going to leave a message. Why? Because it sends a message that you're important, that you're top of mind for me. On top
That's
of
why
that,
I'm here with you
yeah,
today.
yeah. On top of that, not to say you still text, because I still text you, and
Yes.
you
Yep.
still do all the other forms of communication. But I think that's the
Yeah.
number one thing we have to teach people is, especially the younger generation. They're so used to not picking up the phone and talking. It's such a hard thing to coach on. That, hey,
It is.
you say, hey, I want you to call these 10 people. You come back and they texted 10 people. You're like, no, pick up
Not
the
the
phone
same.
and
Yes.
call them.
You
So
need to give them some touch points. Yes. But
yeah,
yeah, you can't,
it's a lost art. If you're willing to
it
pick up the
is.
phone, you are going to separate yourself from every other realtor out there. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so that's all the magic we have is that
Yeah.
we truly, genuinely, authentically build relationships. That's it.
Well, what's amazing about your story, Tammy? I always thought you were a badass, like forever. But the fact that you just told me that you were working 2 jobs all the way up to 2020, Cox Media, real estate. I always thought, as soon as you landed in real estate, you had a golden spoon, and you're just everybody sees this. They don't see the 10 years that it took to grow this. So really,
Right.
your success has only been in 4 years, less than 5 years. Let's just say between 4 and 5 years, right? Your massive
Yes.
success.
Just into real estate,
Yeah.
not
Into
having both. Yeah.
yeah, into real estate. But when you
Yeah.
think about that, I look at you, I look at your production, because I didn't go back that far. I just think I go back a couple of years. I think, oh God, this lady's a powerhouse. She's top team in Emerald Coast. She's doing this,
Yeah.
and then for you to share your story, it's a great story, because you know what? People didn't see the struggles. People didn't see cancer in 2012 that you overcame,
Yeah.
and has it come back? Right? You're in remission. Did you come?
I'm in remission. Well, so I'm considered, they never say cancer free, but they do. So every type of cancer has a different cycle, and mine ends if you've been free and it hasn't recurred in 12 years, then you're considered cancer free. And so I'm on year 14.
I'm so glad you shared this story, lady. You know what? I
Yeah.
mean, for you to, have cancer and say we're not promised tomorrow, and then just to leave your home state and move to where
Yeah.
you want to grow. I mean, that cancer actually is a blessing, isn't it?
That's what I tell people all the time, and they look at me like I'm nuts. But it opened my eyes, David, to so many different things. It opened my eyes to how I build relationships. I was so shy. I was so shy. Oh
You
my,
were? Yeah, right.
I was. I swear. I really was. And I never, some of the things that we miss, as people is being able to speak up and just say things like if, my food tasted horrible, I would just sit there and I would eat it and I'd just be like, well, you know, but we take all that stuff for granted when we're not allowed to just be open and flourish and feel free and feel alive. And that the first cancer diagnosis was hard, but when it came back, that just reiterated to me things that I was missing in life, missing those personal touches and the laughter and the fun and all these things, this right here, like I'll be thinking about this for the next year, how great this was just to get to sit down and, you know, mentor to mentor, kind
Yeah.
of just have fun and joke and teach people all at the same time. Freaking, we have amazing lives.
Well, you know what's funny? So I've done 3 podcasts today. You're my 3rd podcast. Um, and um,
There's the charm.
and oh, the by far the best. Just kidding, Shermel. Just kidding.
He
But
takes a
anyways,
joke. They
um,
all different.
but you know what I got all from everybody? Your true authentic self. Because every
Yeah.
time we leave the house, how many of us put on a mask? Of who we're supposed to portray, or what you think people are supposed to act, or. But what I find is, and it took me a long time to realize this, I need coaching and counseling to get more of me out there, or more of my true authentic self. What I find is the more my authentic self that I show, the more I connect with the people I'm supposed to connect with. The
Yeah.
people that I connect with whenever I'm wearing a mask is so superficial. I'll be honest with you. I really don't even want to talk to them. But I
Yeah.
have this connection, and I'm just like, it's like, you know what my friends call it, the ick. When you get the ick, you know what
Yeah.
the ick is. Whether it's
Yeah.
in a dating relationship or in a relationship, the moment that you get that ick, you're just like, ooh, I gotta get away from you. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever that, what,
Absolutely.
whatever that ick is. And so you
Yeah.
talking about your true organic or authentic self is so refreshing. I mean, and for someone that's such a powerful woman like yourself, um, growing a team, top 1% of realtors out there, and you're
Right.
going through your own troubles. Talk about that. As we see here today, you're in the middle of a divorce. I think we talked about, right?
I am. I am. So I had brought my, life partner in,
Yeah.
to real estate, with me, after he got out of the service. And, incredibly grateful that, that he did put in, all that time and effort, for us, to live the lives that we live today, right?
Yeah.
That's what all our veterans and duty military help us with. Um, and he blossomed. He did very well within the team and all that stuff. And it just didn't work out. So unfortunately, I had to cut him off the team and let him go, which, led to the divorce.
Yep.
Um, so, but the divorce cost me more than just him. He had a daughter, and she and I are very, very close. Um, but she's going to be turning 12 in March. So I lost that relationship, um, which is probably the hardest part of the whole thing, if I'm being honest. But 2024 was a huge, it was really a huge struggle, with the divorce. That was one loss. And then May of this year, 2024, I lost my mom.
I'm
So
sorry.
now my mom and my dad are both gone. And still reeling through that. Um, and my daughter had a grandbaby that came into our lives through adoption, or was going to go through the adoption. And she was taken back by the family.
Oh,
Um, it's been 2024 has been a really tough year personally. I'm telling you, my team, um, they're amazing. They're just absolutely amazing. They just kept working and, pulling through. There's a reason that God allows things to happen, and I know that. And,
Well, Tammy, thank you
yeah,
for sharing that. The reason why I say that is because I see this powerful woman in front of me that all I knew was had a good life. But just like everybody else, none of us know you don't know the story until you ask. I had no idea. I knew about the divorce, but I had no idea about your daughter's baby and those are the things that matter. You know what? The money,
yeah,
it's the material things. It's great on paper, but I could tell it
yeah.
hurt you. And so thank you for
Thanks.
sharing with that with our audience. That's why
Yeah.
people connect with you, Tammy. That's why people want to do business with you, because of this right here. Because you get the true, authentic Tammy Philpot. You know what?
Always,
The
always.
unicorn that's gonna cook you gumbo and then be
Yeah,
funny, maybe take you on a couple of trips and then sell you a house. But then maybe we
yeah.
could sit
There you
with a
go.
bottle of wine and cry about all of our emotional stuff. So
Yeah.
thank you
I
very
mean,
much for sharing with our audience. Well, I
yeah,
could sit here and talk to you all day. Maybe we may offline. Me and you will chit chat some more. But
you got
what
it.
did
You
we
got it.
not talk about that we should talk about today?
Oh
I
my
think we
gosh.
covered.
We covered a lot, right? I'm
We
so sorry.
did.
It up here like a little fallen mess, but
No.
um,
People, hey, can I tell you something right now? Our audience loves this because we got to see the real you. And so thank you for that.
yeah. Well, you'll always get the real me. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm a lover of life and laughter, and finding that we have so much in the way of news and all that kind of, and negative stuff on Facebook that draws us into the negativity. So it's things like this where we get to talk about positive things and the growth and the learning and all that drowns some of that negative out. So I'm very appreciative of that. And hopefully, some of your audience gets a little laugh, because I'm a little silly at times, I know. So, hopefully they'll get a little laugh out of that. As well as with the learning, with a lot of the great ideas that pass this way for, for, lending and stuff like that we don't know. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if the people want to find you, and I know they do, her team is spread out from Florida, Alabama to Georgia. How do they
Yeah.
find Tammy Philpott? How do they get a hold of you?
So you can either make a phone call. I give out my personal cell phone number all of the time. You'll never speak to an assistant or anything like that right off the bat. So I always give out my number, which is 850-353-1843. And if you want to look at the team and kind of select who it is that you want to deal with, everybody's bios and all that is on our website. Everybody's different. Everybody comes with their own stuff. We have a cowboy. We have, um, um, you know, global luxury people down to first time home buyer specialists, and, VA, the whole 9 yards. And, we do have someone that speaks Spanish. So if you need that, we have that as well. But you can find us on our website at www.bwp, like Blue Wave Property, 850 at Gmail. Yeah, www.bwp850.com. Sorry.
Okay. And what's the phone number again?
850-353-1843.
And if you're listening to us live, you saw that go across the lower thirds. Well, Tammy, thank you for being on the show today. I'm David Wynn.
Yeah.
I'm with the Mortgage Edge podcast. Thanks for being with us today, folks. Bye.
All right. Bye.